other another places of information, and I have helped gather this, is some of the history is in bottles. A friend of mine, Micah Dolina, he wrote a book on collecting bottles of Harford County. And a lot of our Havre de Grace bottles are in here. And I have a couple of bottles that he took pictures of and put in this book. And I have several bottles. And we'll do a whole other blog one day on just the bottles of Havre de Grace. Some other pieces of information was, there was a magazine put out called The Canvasback. We've gotten bits and pieces and articles out of the Canvasback.
Still is.
And it's still going. I believe the Decoy Museum has it and is putting it out. Another one, it's the current history. It's the most recent history book that came out for Havre de Grace, is the one by Jack Shenanga and Henry Payton. This is 4.5 pounds of history of Havre de Grace, and it has everything all the way from 1608 to present day. It is an awesome read, and it gives you a ton of history about everything. Now, it's even like 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches thick. So it's very, very informative and very interesting to see and read. And now we're even going to go back, and they've also done a whole bunch other series of books of the Concord Point Light Station, carriages back in the day, country stores of Harford County, but there's bits and pieces in each one of these books of Havre de Grace. Some of the businesses, some of the different things that's been in duck hunters of the Susquehanna, the churches of Harford County, an illustrated history, Harford County places and names, and every one of them have a little segment or a little bit to do with Havre de Grace. So that's a good place to get some information. But now I'm going to go back just a little bit further in history. Here is a Havre de Grace bicentennial sketch from 1976, a little pamphlet that has a lot of history information in it. And we're going to do different blogs and segments on some of these individual things and different places in here. Another one, this one is a 1984 piece from the Elks, or the Legion, the Masonic people that was over at the American Legion in 1984. It's pamphlets. It gives you history and people's names and stuff that was members or helped do these things. Another one, there was Eddie Dwyer. This is a trip into yesteryear and a tale of Grandpa's life aboard a canal boat. This was done by a Mr. Eddie Dwyer. Yeah, Dwyer. And it just gives you a cool little... I got to read this again because I forgot all about this one. So that'll give me a whole bunch of information. Now, there was a teacher back in the high school way back in the day. In 1947, he wrote, and it was Mr. Elias Kidweiler. He wrote a book, History of Havre de Grace. And this one had one little quote in it that I thought was pretty relevant even today. It said something about the quaintness of Havre de Grace could be its demise. So we'll have to see here in the future. But Havre de Grace is coming along pretty well. There's lots of new changes, lots of new things that are happening here downtown. But one of the oldest little historic Havre de Grace books was done in 1926 by the ladies of the library. And this gives a whole bunch of different information, different places, different buildings, different things. There was one about a building that was in the center of the street, down by where the Acme building was, right across from, now it's the gymnasium. It's on Congress Avenue. It was in the middle of the street, the building. And apparently this building was taken apart in different sections and has been added into some of the buildings that are currently still in town. But this is where a lot of our information comes from. So if you have anything that we can do, please bring it into us and let us know. And then one of the things about the stories, we get a lot of stories. And one of the authors in town has a historical fiction series called the Pulaski Saga series, Mr. Bob Lackey. And he has a whole series of historical fiction. And we carry all 11. He has now up to volume 11 books in town, and they're very interesting reading. It's based on actual places and things that happened with a little bit of information put in there. And we went around, myself and Miss Ellie went around and took pictures of some of these different places that he talked about. And so they are true places that happened. But that's where a lot of our information comes from. And so we want you to visit our blog at havredegrace.net and our
Bahoukas.net.
Bahoukas.net, and bahoukas.com is our store site. And if you go to Facebook at George Bahoukas Wagner, you can click on the photos and see a lot of this stuff that I have scanned in, and I still have thousands of pieces left to scan in and share. And if you have anything that you'd like to share with me that I could share with everybody, I would really enjoy it. And I love when somebody comes in here and talks to me about the history of the city. Thank you.